Hi, and welcome to Female Entrepreneurs Magazine, your go to platform for ambitious women who are ready to take the business world by storm. I'm your host, Angel France, and each week we'll dive into the latest strategies, stories, and success secrets from the most inspiring female entrepreneurs around the world. Today on The Real Female Entrepreneurs, we're sailing into the story of a woman whose creativity knows no bounds. From crafting cardboard party shoes at 5 years old, oh my God, I would love to see them, to photographing legends like Ali, Mayweather, and Foreman in the golden age of boxing. This icon turned her lens into legacy. But she didn't stop there. She swapped the ring for runway worthy jewelry, designing for Kate Spade, David Yurman, and luxury resorts worldwide. Now, she's making waves with the art of yachting, turning her iconic images into bold, breathtaking masterpieces. Please help me welcome the unstoppable, visionary, and creative force, Alicia Shulman. Welcome.
Thank you. It's so nice to meet you, and thank you for having me. I feel honored to be a part of your group and what you do, what you represent, what you promote. It's a pleasure.
Well, it's exciting to have you here because I need to hear about those party shoes. Come on.
Oh, yeah.
That had to be so cute.
Yeah, cardboard and ribbon, and they didn't last too long. So I would sneak my real party shoes into my lunchbox and thought I could outsmart my mom, but no.
That is so precious. So,
Um,
how was that? I mean, a woman taking the photos at boxing matches, how was that? I mean, that had to be amazing.
Um, well, I did it for about 5 years, and it was a challenge. It was exhilarating. It was um, it was a lesson in standing up for yourself. I'm 5'1", if even, and appearance, the perception of me, because I like to dress up. I always wear makeup, and I'd show up and they'd say, "Oh my gosh, look, this little princess, what is she?" They thought it was a joke. All the real deal seasoned photographers for, the AP and all the syndicated outlets and HBO and all these guys, they would kind of like laugh and apparently let me in my spot on the ring. And I just hung in there, and what's interesting is these guys didn't know that I was raised by a coach, that I grew up in a boys' sports camp keeping stats for, basketball tournaments and swim meets and all this. It's so interesting because, you have this perception, a female in the, gritty man's world. Oh, she just wants to hang out with the guys. No, I grew up in a gym. I grew up in a boys' sports camp. My dad's a coach. I grew up with star athletes in my living room. Phil Hankinson in my living room from the Celtics, this one, that one. So I just kind of like laughed and I kept going, but the laughter stopped when my first published photo was in Evander Holyfield magazine cover. I said, "How you like me now?" And, kind of like the seas parted. It was started to be acceptance, and little by little, I earned, well, I earned it very quickly, but it was just a very interesting time. I didn't have to do it. I did it because I wanted to do it. It looked interesting. It looked artistic. I knew nothing about boxing. I was not a boxing fan. I did not know an uppercut from a jab. People would ask me at the press conferences, the guys would ask me, "Who do you like in this fight?" And I would say, "I have got no idea. I'm not there for the fight. I'm there to catch the art of it, catch the timing, catch the human emotion." To me, it was like a very exhilarating challenge. And I looked at it, I think, from a female artist's eye, not a sports photographer's eye. So the editors had a lot to work with me, that became I became on the masthead of 2 major boxing magazines. I didn't want to work for anybody. I was freelance. In fact, I was my own broker. I was still selling real estate at the time, which allowed me to do whatever, I wanted to do. So I just juggled everything. I'd fly to Vegas for all the fights, maybe get a call from a broker that the key doesn't work, whatever, but yeah, I worked with the best of them, and I shot probably every champion you can name.
That's amazing. And you
Yeah.
turned in the ring, taking pictures
Yeah.
for runway jewelry. How did you get into that? That is amazing.
Well, what happened was I was offered a book deal by Rizzoli, which is really the pinnacle. And the book was to be a 144-page hardcover coffee table book with 125 of my photos. And I had signed the contract, and the gentleman who brought me to Rizzoli, who envisioned the deal and pitched the deal, his name is Thomas Hauser, and he's Muhammad Ali's biographer. And he's written about 44 books, mostly sports and boxing. He's very, very very well-known author. And at first he didn't give me the time of day. He was one of the guys in the media, let's say, that didn't even look my way. And one day he was in the editor-in-chief's office of Bert Sugar's Fight Game magazine. Bert Sugar's the guy with the cigar and the hat, iconic, that everybody knows. And he saw some photos on the desk. Now, this is pre-digital, mind you, so I wasn't shooting digitally. He saw some photos on the desk of Michael, the editor-in-chief, and he says, "Wow, those are great. Whose are they?" And he said, "Alicia." And the guy was like blown away. That never would look my way. Next thing you know, I get a phone call from Tom Hauser wanting to meet with me to discuss something. Well, he wanted to see more images, and he said, "I have an idea. I want to go to Rizzoli with your work and go for a coffee table book deal. I see it." One thing, long story short, we went to Rizzoli. 4 meetings later, we had the deal. Tom and now he had already done 4 deals with Rizzoli, so it was, he was confident, everything was up and up. We signed the contracts, and they asked me to get started editing with their editors and the book designer, who would come meet at my house because all the photos were in long cardboard like boxes because we weren't digital. So, I couldn't schlep them around. So I'm serving food and drinks and everything. We're sitting around my living room in Midtown. And I've made this a priority because, I had never studied photography. So
Wow.
for a Rizzoli book deal to happen for me was huge. I've already spoken to Joe Frazier and Larry Holmes to come to the press party. I'm telling the whole world about this, thing, and couldn't be happier. Well, about 2 weeks go by, and we don't have the contract back counter signed yet. I've canceled trips to make this a priority, the whole bit. And I say to Tom Hauser, I'm just nervous. We don't have the contract back yet. And he said, "Well, Thomas Meyer is in Amsterdam at the annual book fair. I actually spoke to him. He's back tomorrow. Sign the contract. We'll have it back the next day." Well, the next day was 9/11. And on 9/11, everything changed. And businesses, had to err on the side of caution. Things got put on hold, so on and so forth. I get a call that they can't move forward with the book. And I say, yeah, that's not okay for a lot of reasons. I'm out of pocket on things I shot at the last minute for the book. I've canceled plans. I've entertained editors. I have a lot of time investment and lost opportunity costs. And I've told the whole world, so I'm embarrassed.
Right.
And he said, "I agree." And he wrote a strong letter to them. And in the end, all they would do would give us a third of the advance. And we had to sign off that we would not take the project to any similar any similar project to any publisher for 7 years. So So at that point, I was 43 in 2001. And I said, I can't do this anymore. Like,
Yeah.
I don't have this, end goal, this, this piece to show for all this work I've done. And the money didn't add up to the time. I felt like
Right.
I felt like the time had passed. I was 43 climbing into a boxing ring. It did not feel great. And and I was so turned off and so crushed. I was honestly so crushed that I had to disappear. And I disappeared. And I needed new inspiration. I needed a new vehicle. So I ended up in LA with a boyfriend one day in Santa Monica, and I fell upon some marble pieces, some stones. And I went back to New York and I started playing around with the stones. And I remembered a place where you could make jewelry that had lots of stones, and they would put things together for you. And I got really, really into that. I enjoyed the tactical
Wow.
piece of it that was so different than photography as a flat medium. And this was something with my hands. I could make it, change it, this, that, the other. And also I'm a fashion girl, so I loved it. One thing led to the next. I end up, don't ask me, meeting with the buyer in Kate Spade's corporate office with a selection. And a week later, I was in St. Thomas and I get an email that Kate wants to order 3 pieces for her stores nationwide. I had no idea how to do it. So I had to figure out, to find a factory, how to order the stones, because the first order was like 300 or 400 pieces.
Okay, that is way cool. Just stop. That is way flipping cool.
Yeah. I got to figure it out. I shipped on time. And then I get a call from the buyer named Kelly that your stuff is selling out. So as I became really a part of, a steady vendor, let's call it, for the Kate Spade stores, I felt confident. I felt now like, okay, I'm a designer,
Yeah.
And I started going for the editors and the stylists and so on. And I thought, my stuff will do really well in the resorts. And that's a really good niche, because the women are in a 5-star resort and you're going to buy something you love in a shop. It's a different kind of mentality. And also I loved going to all the resorts in Cabo, like Esperanza and Las Ventanas and, Palmillo, all of that, and Turks and Caicos. And I says, well, let me go for what my lifestyle is and combine it. So I started going around and getting accounts with Rosewood Resorts and One and Only Resorts and Montage Resorts, Gansevoort, the Breakers in Palm Beach. All of this became my clients. And as that grew, I worked the press angle and I did the PR on my own. And I ended up in 40 magazines and newspapers, and did television interviews, and Miami Herald interviewed me on their television, and I did a Sundance television commercial that did like a documentary commercial on my story showing me working with the jewelry. And that lasted quite a while until I had the bottom fall out again. And really, Angel, it's all about being able to pick yourself up and dust yourself off and figure it out.
You're a true pivot queen. You're a true pivot queen. That's all I'm going to say. You
And
on a dime.
I think if you have any degree of talent combined with the work ethic and the hustle and the ability to just not take no for an answer, and some degree of chutzpah, which I definitely have, be alert to what's going on, what's going on around you and how to connect the dots, because like my saying would be, everything leads to everything, right? The first piece of press I got, I paid a stylist $50 to get me in a magazine that had a staple binding. I had to take the stuff all the way across the town to the shoot. But what happens is you turn that into, next thing you know, Oprah Magazine is sending people to me. Travel and Leisure is coming to my house. Palm Beach Illustrated is coming to my house. Coastal Living is asking me to send them 20 pieces for, X whatever issue. and all of the big magazines, and
Right.
but it has to start somewhere, and you plant the
Yeah.
seeds and you keep moving, and every 6 months you can look back and say, wow, I came from here to here. And it's such a gratifying feeling to build something coming from nothing, just an idea, just putting yourself out there, which is very scary, because when it's artwork in any sense that you have to sell or show, it's very personal and it's very scary. Selling real estate for me was a no-brainer. I was good at it. It gave me the ability to finally in my life go and explore my art side. But you have to not listen to the people that get in your ear, because they will say, what is she doing now? Oh my God. You know,
I
you,
get that all the time. I feel you. I feel you because your new world is so intriguing. The art of yachting. Oh my God.
right. And
That
it has
is
nothing to do
cool.
with yachting. And that's fine, because ask me and I'll tell you, yachting's a metaphor for the finer things in life, for that lifestyle. I'm in Palm Beach now, so let's roll with it. Let me work with where I live. And, because I'm sitting on this wealth of very exclusive boxing imagery, I feel like it's a perfect match for, it's hospitality, it's corporate settings, it's man caves, it's cigar lounges, it's yachts, it's gyms. But I don't just have boxing, the site galleries is broken down into different boxing categories, but as well, I have personalities that I've photographed along the way, like a Bo Derek, like a Johnny Depp, like a Denzel Washington, like a Steven Tyler, like a Smokey Robinson, like I've got, Yogi Berra, Willie Mays, there's all interesting unexpected things to find there. And then I have Globally Infused, which is artwork from around the globe, things that have inspired me, moments that have really stopped me in my tracks and captivated me. A woman on a hilltop in Greece, walk in a church, just all kinds of things, all kinds of things. So that's my new passion, and I'm going with it.
I love that. With your vast knowledge of being this, I'm just going to call you the scrappy entrepreneur. You're
I'm
just
scrappy. I
so
am.
much like me.
That's what they call me, scrappy, and I love it. I don't apologize.
I don't either. I'm the same way. So, because you have that in your gut, what advice would you give to a woman who's trying to grow their business and might be struggling? You're the
Yeah.
pivot queen. You got an answer for them.
Okay. What people don't know about me, because they think I'm the most outgoing, whatever, is I'm extremely shy, extremely, because I want to say things in my childhood. I lacked maybe some degree of self-confidence. And so for whatever reason, I've put myself in situations to test myself, things that are scary, like going into a boxing situation was very scary. I didn't have to do it. It wasn't a job. It was a desire. But something about me has to prove myself. But what I would say to people is don't play it safe. I played it safe for way, way too long and wish I hadn't, but that was my path. No regrets. But to other people, I would say don't play it safe. Don't take no for an answer. Don't let them get in your ear, because that really it diminishes everything. You have to just stay true to what your instincts are. Be alert, know your strengths. My strengths were honestly not to scale something. My strength was not delegating. I know very well what my strengths are. It's my core instincts of color and composition, how to pivot, as you say, how to reconstruct, how to connect the dots, how to reinvent. But I know what in other words, know your strengths. If your strength
Yeah.
is not to delegate, figure it out, or have somebody figure out with you, bring on a partner. My particular business is rooted in art. So I'm not a business of insurance or of finance or of, you know, the kinds of things that you can scale in other ways or lay foundations, you know, in other ways. Mine is just based on what I do, my particular talent, if you will. I think talent in itself is not enough in business. You have to know all the pieces. You have to wear all the hats. For somebody like me that doesn't delegate, you know, I wear the PR hat, I wear the sales hat, I wear the art hat, I wear the manufacturer hat, I wear everything. But what I love about that is you can focus on anything at any given time. Every day is different. You know what you have to get up and do. You know, this is the day that I'm sending out pitches, or my, you know, helping my intern to send out pitches, which is how I came to you. This is the day that I might be shooting surfing. This is the day that I might be going down to Miami and introducing myself to, you know, 10 interior designers and showing up, you know. So, you know, you kind of have to have a structure. Well, for me, that's the way I chart it out. It's how I feel, what I'm emotionally up for, what my time allows for, what makes sense. I'm definitely a logistics person. So that helps me in all this. And I have the self drive. If you don't, you can't do anything. I mean, that's paramount. So, you know, so for people that, you know, giving inspiration or words of wisdom as to new entrepreneurs, if you don't have that inside of you, then you can stop right there, because it's not going to happen. If you have it,
I love your strength and have the drive. Oh my God.
Yeah. And you got to have chutzpah. I can't tell you how many things have rewarded me because I put myself out there and I spoke up. If you don't ask, nothing happens.
We're going to call it chutzpah drive.
The chutzpah drive. Yeah. So, you know, boat show comes up in Palm Beach. That's where I'm going to be. I'm going to do a big man cave and bring in a men's skincare line and, you know, a couple of other people onto a big salon on a yacht for Palm Beach. And it'll be like a yacht man cave, and it'll be very invitational. And, you know, so some events, you know, looking forward to some events because I love that. And it's just, you know, all of this is just, you know, if you're an artist, which a lot of your audience may not be, but if you are in any realm, for me, it was just from photos to jewelry to what I do now. It's all a transference of core instincts. For me, photography, jewelry, you know, graphics, fashion design, all of it is the same, just another vehicle.
Yeah, it is. It's just another way to pivot. And it all sort of runs together. I mean, I just think of the fact that at 5 years old, you were creating your cordboard shoes. And I mean, think about it. I mean, you were doing fashion back then. Hello.
Well, at 10 years old, I had a singing group called the Plums, and we were like the Diana Ross and the Supremes of my elementary school. So, you know.
That had to be fun. That had to be a blast.
It was fun. It was fun.
So let's go 8 years forward from the 10-year-olds, knowing what you know now and what you've learned in business. What advice would you go back and tell your 18-year-old self?
Yeah, don't play it safe. I was afraid for way too long. I played it safe in real estate, and I was always an artist. And when my family learned I was going into real estate, they said their heart sank. Especially my grandmother, who was a very well-known artist. You know, she was a jury, you know, in juried situations, galleries, museums. She was a phenomenal fine artist. And I grew up, that she had a big studio over the garage in Great Neck where I grew up. And I would spend afternoons there with her amidst the turpentine and 6 or 8 easels and canvases going at once, and watching her with the paints and the colors. And what's so interesting, I remember saying in my memoir that I'm working on, is that I'd watch how she would layer the color, and she would put an unexpected color somewhere, and I would think like, wow. But once you saw it there, you couldn't then imagine its absence. And I remember thinking all this as a small child, and they say I got all my instincts for color and composition from her, but she never ever lived. She lived till 94, but she never saw me go into the arts. And for that I do really regret, because she never ever saw me do anything artistic. And it's funny because David Yurman would later say one day he said in a meeting with me and the girl who's like the back end of the collection that I designed for him, he said, Alicia paints with stones. And I thought that was so interesting. And I love that. And what's so crazy is that when David was in junior high school, rather, he worked for a dry cleaner in the town I grew up in.
Oh,
and
wow.
my father was his track coach. And David came to, this is before we bought our house. We were in an apartment, and he came one day to the apartment, and my dad, the coach wasn't there, but my mom was. And he came with the dry cleaning, and my mom opened the door, and I was crawling around the foyer or whatever. And he saw the art on the walls and asked my mom, could he come in and look? And he said, who did all this art? It's phenomenal. I'm an artist. And my mother said, that's my mother. She's a fine artist named Hannah Katz. And, you know, so all these years later, when I met with him to kind of discuss whatever, and he created this consultancy role for me, I told him this story, and he remembered. And I said, that was my apartment. I was a little girl. That's my grandmother's work. And it's just so funny how things, you know, come full circle. But she's the source of a lot of my inspiration, because I always want her to know up there that I've done something with what she passed down to me, you know, in my own way. I've never done fine art, but
You've got the creative gene. It's been passed down.
the creative gene was passed down. And I felt at some point in time, I owed it to myself to step out there and go for it.
All right. So I think I know what you're going to say here, but
Okay.
What is a key strategy that has helped you advance in your businesses?
Oh boy. I have to say, your audience will not want to hear this, but nor will you. But however, not that I have always flown by the seat of my pants, but I never had a business plan. I was not a planner. I usually have always had the cart before the horse. And instinctually, I always want to know, how far can I take this? If I come into something that I like, or I think it's going well, or I think I'm good at, it's how far can I take it? How far can I take it? I'm not okay to just stay where I am. I wasn't okay just to make some necklaces and beads. I wasn't okay to go to some fights and take some pictures. I needed magazine covers. I didn't know where it was going, but it went to a Rizzoli book deal. If you do the work and you put one foot in front of the other and you keep going, this is what could happen. And
you did your own PR.
I did all my own PR.
And you still do today, correct?
Yes, but now I have a wonderful girl I'm working with. And her focus is actually going to be in yachting. She just graduated from college down here. And I met her at the Palm Beach International Boat Show. And now she's doing some work with me. And she's actually very inspiring and very smart. And I like that I have her as a sounding board. And sending some pitches out, because it's a lot of work.
So everybody knows I have my Abby. You have your Abby.
Yes, I have my Abby, and her name's Jaina.
You have Jaina.
She's adorable. And we take Pilates together.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Can you share any future plans that we need to keep an eye out on for you?
The future plan for now is getting the Art of Yachting established, becoming a go-to resource for yacht interior designers, for interior designers, for corporate, for hospitality, just getting my name out there in that lane, which is new to me. The artwork isn't new to me, but where it has to be known and sell and be understood, all that's new to me. So that's, a really big challenge. I'll go to Art Basel. I'll do all those kind of things and keep an open mind and go from there, because I don't know where this may lead and how this may lead, or what partnerships may develop from it. So for now, that's really what I'm at. That's my focus. I'm going to go to Sicily in a month, and I'm going to do a Sicily series. I was in the Dominican Republic last week, starting a surfing series so that I can augment the visuals that are available. I don't want it to be known as just boxing. It'll predominantly always be known for that, but I want to enhance it so there's something for everybody to, build a series on their wall from.
So to expand the fun that we're having here, do you mind telling me about the superpower that you would have for just 24 hours one day? What would it be?
Oh gosh, I'm torn between fly and mind reader. I would have to pick fly.
They're both fun.
They're fun and necessary.
Yeah.
Well, I don't drive, so fly might take it. Fly might win.
Fly might win. All right. What's one fun fact about you that not a lot of people know about?
I go to sleep at 7:30 at night. I guess that's not a fun fact.
Wait, no, that is. You go to sleep at 7:30 at night?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm your daytime friend. Don't ever ask me to go out for dinner. I'm the daytime friend. My sister gave me that line.
So you're probably very creative early in the morning then.
Yes, exactly. I swim. I'm in my head swimming. I do things like in the pandemic when I was trapped in my house, I wrote 70 songs in 70 days and recorded them. I mean, like, I always have to have a...
Okay, that's a fun fact.
Okay, that's the fun fact then. I rewrote 70 songs in 70 days and put them on Instagram.
Oh my God, that has to be fun.
It was fun until it wasn't. It was fun until the eyelashes were falling off and I couldn't find it out, 70 outfits, 70 looks. It started after I was dared to do 20. I got to 20 and said I could do 40. 40 became 50 and I kept going. And then it started to stress me because it felt like a job and getting the eyelashes on and the whole bit. But I'm really glad I did it. And I have this, not archives, but this catalog now of 70 songs that I flipped. And it's kind of really fun across all genres, like all genres.
Oh my word. So
and the song would reflect, in many cases or most cases, what was going on in the news, what was going on in the world. I did a George Floyd song. I did, all kinds of things. Yeah. And some were just fun. About missing Trader Joe's was one song,
So let's go about songs. I think this was going to be hard for you. Do you have a favorite song?
I can't possibly have a favorite song because in my mind, I'm the queen of music and I love too many songs. No.
I can see that. So all songs, all genres, bring it on, right?
Mostly R&B, soulful, country, hip hop, a little jazz.
You love music.
I love music. Yeah.
All right. What about a favorite book? Do you have a favorite book?
I'm not a big reader because I'm always distracted in my head. I've always wanted to be a big reader. I think had I been a big reader, I would have an easier time writing my memoir. But I love Hayam Potok, The Chosen, and his sequel, The Promise. Chaim Podak. I've always loved that. That's always kind of stuck with me. I also love, and this was turned into a HBO series many years later, My Brilliant Friend, which took place in Naples and the island of Ischia. I love that. And I really, like I said, I'm so absorbed in my head and distracted all the time. I've, really never been able to focus on books like I would have loved to.
And what about a favorite quote then?
Well, I have my own quote, which I guess was a quote before I said it. One monkey don't stop the show, which is part and parcel to my philosophy on work and doing what you want to do and not taking no for an answer. I also, everything leads to everything. That's just my own quote. But some famous, quote from the philosophers and all, no.
We don't need that. We got
yours. No, I live by my own quotes. And if you don't ask, nothing happens.
Oh, yeah.
Don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to ask.
Yep. All right. What about staying motivated? Oh, go ahead.
I feel like if you put something in front of somebody that's well crafted, that makes sense, it's hard for them to say no. So you've got to do the work. You've got to think it through. You've got to know what it is from their perspective, what makes sense, when it makes sense, why it makes sense, and do the work, because people are busy and they have people coming at them from all angles, wanting whatever it is that they can provide. So you've got to make their job easy, whether it's PR, whether it's retail, whatever it is, you need to know how to present.
That's key.
Yeah, that it really is key. I really believe that is key.
How do you stay motivated?
That's an internal thing. I mean, that's really an internal thing. I happen to have that. I don't know where it comes from, deep seated from my childhood or where that comes from, but you can't manufacture it. You can't learn it. What I like to do is, I go to sleep early. I get up early, about probably 5 mornings a week. I go to a very early Pilates class, and that sets me for the day. I'm out. I have somewhere to be. After that, I know what I'm going to do, whether it's sit in a coffee place and work, whether it's swim for an hour and then go sit in a coffee place and work, whether I have a meeting, whatever it is. But I feel like you've got to start your day with, for me, that's my plan in that sense. I never like to have a day where I'm idle or don't have a plan or don't have a structure of what I want to accomplish. And every day is different, which I like. That works for me. Now that my 10-year consultancy has just ended with David Yurman, I have this time on my hands to focus on this new venture. So I'm just really excited to see where it's going to go.
Yeah, I think it's cool. And you said that a lot of the artwork is acrylic. So that's why it works well in yachts as well, correct?
Right. So what it is the hard copy photos. I have about 300 art pieces, limited edition, available now on the site across all these galleries. And what I've had to do is take all of these hard copy images to a professional place to have the resolution worked on, because it's got to be high resolution. They're being blown up under acrylic to 20 by 30 or whatever sizes. So that was all new to me, learning all of this, all of these dynamics and logistics with regard to that, how large some things could go, other things can't go that large for whatever reason. I do a lot of editing, so a lot of these look like watercolor or look like art of some sort and not a traditional raw photo. Some are most effective in their raw state, so it's really up to me as the artist how I want to show this. And some of them I love so much 2 different ways that I offer it 2 different ways because I couldn't choose. Yeah. So maybe there's an Ali that's a black and white that's raw, and yet that same image is offered in a different way.
Right.
So
I
yeah.
love the fact that you're so inquisitive and you're open to learn so much more and
Yeah,
go deeper.
you have to. Things don't happen by itself. No one figures it out for you. And this all opened up to me when I was asked to be a part of this exhibit. It was just learning this, and then maybe I could turn it into this, and then learning that. And it's still a lot to learn, but I feel confident in it. I think I have the product. I worked with somebody from the UK on the site who was fantastic. He's actually a surgeon who is completely obsessed with websites and has every certification from Apple that's possible. And he's the fiance of my nail girl. And he's incredible. And he worked with me for a couple of months to get the site up. And had it not been for him, I don't think I ever would have been able to pull together all the pieces or had that motivation without his support. So that was great, because getting into those files and figuring out how to make a site, break down the site, present the site, the mechanics of the site, the whole back end of it. So it's exciting. It's exciting.
It is. It is. Your connections are amazing. Getting connections and just linking people together.
Yes.
Seems to be a gift you have as well.
Yeah, and I love that, and I love connecting people to each other. And I've always been like that. And you don't do it to come back to you, but it feels good, and it does come back to you.
Sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Or it might not come back in the way you think. It comes back another way.
The universe is a very funny thing. And I find that when I really do the work, the universe meets me halfway. And I see that time and time again.
Yep.
But you got to get busy. You got to dig deep and do the work.
I love that. Get busy and do the work. So what's the best way for our audience to stay connected with you?
Well, LinkedIn, Instagram. You can write me on either Instagram, which is at Boxing Undercover, and the new one, which is not as populated quite yet, is the Art of Yachting.
Love that. And is there anything you want to leave our audience with?
I appreciate your seeing my story, and I appreciate you, Angel.
I love your story. I think they just need to remember that they got to have strength, chutzpah, and willing to do the work. That's it.
Yeah. That's it.
That's it. Alicia, it was
and
a pleasure
I'll talk to you at 4:30 in the morning when I wake up.
Okay, she goes to bed at 7:30 and wakes up at 4:30. Thanks, Alicia, for being with us.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Female Entrepreneurs Magazine. I hope you found inspiration, actionable tips, and a sense of connection with our incredible community of driven women. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, leave a review, and share the episode with fellow entrepreneurs who are ready to elevate their game. Remember, your success is just the beginning, and we're here to support you in every step of the way. Until next time, keep shining, keep thriving, and remember, you have the power to create the business and life of your dreams. Stay inspired, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.